is you never know what those kids are watching. You may be inspiring the next generation when you drive your race car through sunset, and we're watching American Graffiti on Route 66.
Well, welcome to episode 51 of the Drag Driver Pete Show, presented by Summit Racing. We have Jared Holt of King of the Open Road, who is also, just an all-around great dude. Guys, if you don't know, my name is Mike Narks. I'm the host of the Drag Driver Pete Show and the Drag Driver Pete News.
I am Eric White. I am the co-host for both the show and the news.
And guys, we appreciate everything you do, all the folks that are out there. We have, we've been calling you guys race car friends for well over 2 years, and I think it fits because there's nothing cooler than seeing your friends when you're driving around and it's so much fun. And guys, we couldn't do the circuit without sponsors. Summit Racing is part of the Drag Driver Pete brand and the circuit as well. Driven Racing Oil just came on board. Molly Motorsports in their second year coming on here. We appreciate those guys. Car Change is a new one for 2024. Howard's Cams is back for 2024 for another year. Performa Built Transmissions is a new one for 2024. Do you hear this stuff, man? We're growing. We're growing. Sweet Patina is back. They were our first sponsor. We want to say thank you to them so much for making a lot of this possible. I mean, it really comes down to Blake and the team down there. And then Racing Junk Classifieds. Look, we don't run a buy, sell, trade page because it's too much brain damage. So we let Racing Junk Classifieds handle all of that. So we just want to say thank you to everybody that is a part of all of us growing. We're going to bring him on. Guys, if you don't know, Jared Holt is one of the coolest dudes you'll ever meet. You're one of my favorite people in the entire car community, but then also you run King of the Open Road, which is one of the funnest events that is out there. It's a drag and drive. It's a learning experience, I would say. That's we're going to talk about a little bit of that. And then you have an interesting thought on all of how to bring all this together, like a heavyweight class, you have high roller class, you have anyways, roll racing, all kinds of. I'll let you tell it, dude. Introduce yourself and tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah. For those that don't know, I go by J-Rod. You can find me at JRod_OKC on Instagram, J-Rod's Garage on Facebook, and J-Rod's Garage on YouTube. We started King of the Open Road in the midst of COVID 2020. And it was a really one-day event, super small deal. It was an actual street racing event. We rented a road in Hinton, Oklahoma. And I'd done Rocky Mountain Race Week the year before, and it inspired me to begin doing actual full-blown events at our local track. And here we are going into our 2024 season, and we did 3 states, 3 events last year that were hugely successful. Yes. Arizona, Texas were obviously a little bit different market than my home here in the 405. So those markets weren't as large a car count, but anytime you can introduce new people to drag and drive, to me, it's a victory.
Yeah.
So, those were super fun events. And here we are a few months out. April 26th through 28th is the next King of the Open Road right here in the 405, Thunder Valley. And I think it's going to be our best one yet for a lot of different reasons. But I'm really excited to see this event grow. I think this year we're going to maybe scale it back. We felt like 3 events and still holding full-time jobs was tough to do. Javier, my partner that owns that racing channel, his plate's full, my plate's full. So, it hasn't been publicly announced, but what we're doing is we're going to do a King of the Open Road in April and likely a fall event or drag race. But somewhere in the middle of that, we're going to do a King of the Open Road off-road edition. There's nothing like that in the off-road community. I've been off-roading for as long as I've been drag racing. Obviously, it's got put on the back burner as I've progressed in drag racing. And, the last, 2 years ago, we did the Street Outlaw stuff and all that. So I just bought an FJ Cruiser and I've really been getting back into it. And I thought, why isn't there anything like this for off-road? And so here we are. I've already got it pretty much locked down. We're doing 3 off-road parks over 3 days. And the great thing with off-road is you don't have to worry about weather. You don't have to worry about insurance. You don't have to worry about track rental. Like, it's the Wild West. I mean, it's so cool. And being in Oklahoma, we're so blessed to have so many off-road parks. So we're going to do that. And I'm really excited to see the Jeep community and the Toyota off-road community. And here in Oklahoma, side-by-sides are street legal. I think it's going to be really big. What we're going to do with that is we're going to do three off-road parks in 3 days. They're all about 150 miles apart, but we're not going to take any public highways. It's going to be all back road, dirt road stuff. And there's going to be 3 different trails for different categories. There's going to be a novice trail, like a stock Jeep. There's going to be something like an intermediate, like 33s and maybe a rear locker. And then there's going to be some pretty hardcore shit. So it's going to be like 35s, 37s, locker. But you got to keep in mind, you got to complete these trails and still drive to the next off-road park. And so, you know, like with KOTOR, we do the tokens. That's kind of our thing, right? We do these tokens. Well, we're going to do an individual token for each individual park for each trail. So if you get like, you know, a green trail or whatever we call it, you're going to get all three. You'll get a prize at the end if you complete it. You know, we'll probably give you one of the crowns. You'll get to sit in this throne right here behind me, get to take some pictures. You know, without a drag race, without some kind of a competition, it's going to be pretty hard to give cash out, but we're going to figure something out. But yeah, it's going to happen. It's looking like it's going to be September. And I feel like a lot of the drag race guys have off-road machines, you know, whether it's a stock, like a Rubicon on 35s or whatever it may be. So it's going to give us an avenue to go play in off-road. And man, just think of the content that's going to be able to, you know, provide all the, you know, water crossings and rock. So like, we got to come up with a cool name for it. But I wanted to get ahead of this before someone else did it, right? We want to be the first. There's something called the Ultimate Challenge that Motor Trend does that's kind of similar, but they're really, really hardcore rigs. And much like the open road drag race, I'm not after the outlaw cars. I'm after the guy that runs 10s, 11s, and 12s, maybe 9s. You know, I'm after the average Joe car guy, right? There's way more of us than there are Tom Bailey's and Jeff Lutz and Brett LaSalle's. And I just feel like that's a bigger demographic. And, you know, just like with King of the Open Road, it'll introduce people into this. And I guarantee you, people that have off-road vehicles, they probably got race cars too. So it's for people to the movement.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I like where your head is at. And again, dude, you do a great job of bringing an entire community together. If you guys aren't on the Cruising Oklahoma page, you need to do that. That's what, almost 20,000 people strong in there.
21 now. And, you know, we started that in COVID as well. And we did a cruise every month for 36 months. So for 3 years. And this year we're going to dial it back because I felt like it got stagnant for the community. They expected a cruise every month and the numbers kind of dwindled. We got down to maybe 100, 150 cars, where when it was like a new hip thing, we were seeing 300 to 500 cars. And so, you know, we're going to dial it back this year. We're going to do like 6 events. We're going to start the first one in April, which is our King of the Open Road cruise, which is where King of the Open Road started with Cruising Oklahoma, and just give the people something to look forward to rather than expect. So that's what we're going to do with Cruising Oklahoma.
No, I dig it. Well, dude, let's talk about King of the Open Road, April. Obviously, Oklahoma City, like you said a minute ago. I want to talk about one of the classes that is my favorite and definitely a favorite of Jack Crawford's, the heavyweight class, the LTD Yacht 1. So how great did it make you feel to see Sick Week kind of adopting like a heavyweight class? You know, they wanted some of those heavier cars out.
I saw that. You know, I wanted to do Sick Week this year, just wasn't in the cards. Obviously, my car stays in Florida at Real Street, so it was going to be super easy. Brett LaSalle obviously works on it. You know, when he was at Real Street, just recently moved over to Motorworks. So it just didn't happen. But yeah, when I saw that, I was like, you know, that's pretty cool, right? Because we were like the first drive to, you know, integrate a heavyweight class, and we're also the first Dragon drive to do roll racing. So I'm kind of anxious to if the roll racing migrates into some of the bigger week-long events, because I really think it should. It's another demographic of racer that the Lambo guys, the R8 guys, the stick shift ZR1, you know, there's a lot of cars out there that those guys are just as passionate as we are about drag racing, but they don't have, I wouldn't call it the skill set. Their car just isn't set up to do it from a dead stop. So, it's the roll racing has been really popular at our event, and a lot of the guys do both. They'll do the roll racing to take their car down to get some test passes, and then they can dial it in for the drag racing. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Well, where are you stopping for the route stop this year?
Yeah, so our route this year is pretty cool. This year, doing the opposite side of the state. We're going east, and it's right about the same distance. It's 291 miles. I actually drove some of the route today. And we're going through rural Oklahoma, like really rural Oklahoma. No gas stations out there, so people are going to have to be mindful of that with bringing fuel and stuff like that. But the stop is something that I pride myself in, and I feel like I try to do the best I can for the racer to provide them a memorable experience, right? So like every time we do, I try to inject a ton of history with our maps and our tokens and all that. Well, this one, I feel like we leveled up. It was something, an idea that I'd been wanting to do with Cruising Oklahoma, just never made it happen. But in Sapulpa, Oklahoma, which sits right on historic Route 66, there's a historic theater there called the Teepee. It's a drive-in theater that a philanthropist that's from Tulsa that actually lives in California now that owns this big makeup line. They didn't tell me what they own, but they got money. And so they're putting a lot of money in Sapulpa. So they have this really cool restaurant in downtown Sapulpa that's 2 stories. It's really hard to explain how intricate the woodworking is, and it's just a really cool place. Well, they also own that theater. So what we're doing is we're actually renting that theater, and we're going to put 300 drag and drive cars in a drive-in theater at sunset, and we're watching American Graffiti on Route 66. So
Dude,
That's
how
awesome.
cool is that?
yeah, I think that will be a memorable deal because, as we go further in time, people lose sight of a drive-in theater. Route 66. Well, I've taken my kids, but a lot of guys in the 30s like me, they've probably never been there self. That was our
Yep.
parents' generation and our parents' generation more. So
Yep.
for those places like that to still be open and still be, thriving, I think it's really cool. And then American Graffiti on Route 66 with drag and drive cars. I mean, shit. I mean, that's a cool deal.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I agree completely.
I was just gonna say you talked about it being in rural Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
What's some of the stuff that people can expect to see along those routes? Is there anything
Yeah. Oh yeah.
interesting and sights?
Oh yeah. Of course there is. I'm a history freak, and I'm a born and bred Okie, and I know a lot of the states I've lived. We moved a lot as a kid. For me, with my dad being in the oil and gas field, we moved a ton. So I know a lot of these little back roads, which helps me with these routes. But yeah, so one historic town that we'll be driving through is a town called Sasakwa. Sasakwa is like a town of like 600 people. It's a Native American town. There's a lot of Native American history there. Then we're going to go into a town called Wowoka. There's known for the Wowoka Switch. It was a train thing back in the day. And then as we progress east from there, we're going to go into Sapulpa. Sapulpa is actually the county seat of Creek County. There's a ton of history there, and I mean a ton. There's actually a Route 66 museum there right down the street from the theater that actually has the tallest gas pump in the world. It's like a 45-foot replica of an old glass globe gas pump that's right on Route 66. And
That's
they've got
cool.
they got 27 cars in there, tons of Route 66 history. It was actually an old National Guard armory that a guy had bought and turned into a museum. It's a really neat deal. And as you
How
progress
cool.
back west from Sapulpa down Route 66, I mean, you've got the historic Rock Cafe, which is in Stroud, Oklahoma. I heard you guys talking about the cars deal earlier. Well, a lot of people don't realize the Rock Cafe in Stroud is where Sally, the movie character from that movie, was based around. Dawn Welch, the lady that owns that. Because I actually grew up in that cafe working as a kid. So did my mom.
Wow.
And I was there in 1997 when they came to actually scout out the movie Cars. The movie Monsters Inc. and The Bug's Life had just came out, and I actually got a signed T-shirt from the director. So that part has a ton of Cars history. Plus, it's a big historic landmark on Route 66. Also in Stroud, there's the Skyliner Motel, which had been around since.
And then we're going to do our Molly ad read here. So, attention high performance enthusiasts and sportsman class racers, meet the Molly Motorsports Power Pack Kit, your ultimate solution for power packed performance. Crafted with precision from top quality alloys or pistons, offer tighter clearances and increased resistance. Tailored for various engine families from small block Chevy to Volkswagen and Audi, we've got you covered. What sets us apart? Forged pistons, graphol coating, and phosphate treatment for peak performance and durability. Elevate your ride with Molly Motorsports, where performance meets precision. Unleash the power within. Visit mollymotorsports.com for more details. Again, Molly is spelled Mahle.
I think the early 20s. Super neat deal. It's got the old LED or neon sign. And as you just continue to progress west, you've got towns like Arcadia, Oklahoma, which is very historic. I saw, Mike, you had posted a picture at Pops not long ago on your Facebook.
Yep.
Big glass. So that is going to be a kind of a weird deal. The main route on it is actually going to turn south before you get to Pops, because I don't like to take people on interstates or through big towns. But I know a lot of people see that. So there's 2 historic stops there called the Red Barn and Pops, which are both in Arcadia. I'm going to give people the option. Obviously, it's only going to be 6 miles away. So I'm going to encourage people to go. But a lot with KOTOR, our rules are laxed. We don't have stringent rules. You can pretty much do what you want as long as you get that token. That token is your race, right? Without that token, you can't race. So I hope people get to see all this and really take their time and indulge themselves in the local history. And another thing that we were doing this year is you probably know Jack Wagon Nova that does Rocky Mountain Race Week and all that. He came to KOTOR, Texas, hit it off with a guy, super amazing guy. Well, he sent me like 12 historic drive-in movie speakers because I had talked to him about it. So we're having those custom etched with the date and King of the Open Road and all that. And we're actually going to hide, I wouldn't say hide them. We're going to drop them off at different landmarks along the way that aren't necessarily a stop. But if you want to stop in there and see if someone's grabbed it yet, you're more than welcome to, because 12
How
people,
cool.
they're going to get an option. They're going to get an opportunity to have those. And they're like legit 1940 speakers. I mean, they're not, they're very
cool.
So that's just some of the things we're doing in the King of the Open Road this year. So we really hope to set the bar up this year and make it that much more of an experience. Because let's be real, people can go drag race anywhere, any weekend, at any place. So to me, it's the cruise, it's that experience, it's making the memories with your family, having a cold beer and a steak, and all those things is what makes King of the Open Road to me a little bit different than most, because I do spend so much time making those maps and really indulging in the local history.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
sounds awesome.
I do want to tell you, be that time that I spent with you in the car, and just the level of thought that you gave to that is over the top, has made my event and my thought process even better. And that's, I mean, 100% accredited to you, because it really truly is amazing what you've done with not only just the brand, but also what you do and provide for the folks too. It was really a fun experience to get to ride with you as we pulled into a town. It was like you would make a phone call and then there'd be like a police officer block the street. I mean, I
Yeah.
think at one point we had like 80 or 90 cars behind us, and everybody had a green light, whether it was green or not. So it was pretty.
That's the cool thing with Oklahoma, man. A lot of people don't realize this. There's more people in the DFW Metroplex than our entire state. So like, it's just a big town in this state, and being from here my whole life and being, in the cars and all that with cruising Oklahoma, I've made so many relationships with these local municipalities. So they're literally just a phone call away, and they're some of the best people I know. And so they're more than willing to set up a roadblock or use a fire truck. And then, you let these towns know, when's the last time a town's seen 300 race cars come through it, Lambos and Ferraris and old muscle cars and, all that stuff. So it becomes kind of like a rolling parade through these small towns, and those people remember that stuff. And then what's cool about it is you never know what those kids are watching. You may be inspiring the next generation when you drive your race car through.
So, what are some of the racers we need to watch out for your upcoming event in April?
Yeah, I've been chatting with Brett about coming. Obviously, me and Brett are pretty tight. I don't know if it's going to work now that he just started at Motion. I know Mr. Frost said he's going to come. We don't have an outlaw class this year. I took that class away because it was so small. So I think he's going to bring one of June's cars and come cruise around with us and hang out. Sean and Betty, my buddy with the Subaru Misfire Motorsports that raced on my Street Outlaw team, that car is just right at the verge of busting into the eights. They're put a new turbo on it. They're going after eights. The Jack Wagon Nova is going to be there. I can't think of them, all of them off the top of my head. I know we're going to have 700 horsepower side by side doing this. They're going to be driving that thing around. I mean, that thing should go mid to low nines. Motor class, Dustin Moody's Performance, who sponsors our event, he'll be coming back and racing his turbo bike, and Justified Performance out of Arkansas. They bring some amazing cars out, ZR1s and motorcycles, and the list could go on and on. A lot of my demographic of racers, they race Texas 2K, and that's the first big race, right? For us in the year. So after Texas 2K, which is like March 10th, I'm sure as long as their cars live and they're not too banged up, we're a flood of entries after that. And what's neat is after that, obviously I go into racing my other cars after we get done promoting the event, but I plan on doing Rocky Mountain Race Week 2.0 this year. I haven't been back to racing since I think 2019. But yeah, me and Jay from Real Street Performance, kind of my tuner, one of my best friends. He's going to come out here and hop in the car, and we're going to do, guy stuff. We're going to drive around Texas and all those tracks that Matt picked. I've never been to, so except for Texas. So I'm really looking forward to that trip. We're going to get the super lined out and see if we can't, I know we'll probably run that 750 class, but we went 721 at 194 at World Cup with no nitrous. So we know if we get that car, it'll probably go a 7.0 at 200. I don't know if we want to push it that hard, or you got to drive it 1,000 miles, because that car's still 3,500 pounds, power windows, power locks, headlights, the whole bit. So it's a lot of stress for 180 cubic inches.
Yeah, that's dude. I love that car and love what you guys have done with it for sure. Well, what are some other cars that you got in the stable in the fleet there behind you? Because I see there's some stacks of stuff back there.
I mean, I got the throne, so I figured I'd set it up. So we just picked up that '03 Cobra that we just uploaded to our YouTube channel. That, man, I didn't think a Mustang of all things would really do well on my channel, but it's got about 100,000 views on that video. It's picked me up like 5,000 subscribers. People are eating that up. So it's a zinc yellow '03 Cobra that's kind of a barn find. We're doing a full manly rotating assembly in it, a big, Kenny Bell or a Whipple, kind of old school build. I've got my STI in there. I just blew my Evo up last weekend. That wasn't fun.
I saw that.
Yeah, my Integra Type R's in there, my Dodge Stealth, a couple 3000 GTs, my O2 SS 35th anniversary Camaro, my 30th anniversary WS6, a couple sport bikes, and my Viper. Then the two Super are away, my 300ZX is away, my RX-7's away. They're all getting upgrades. So you know how it is. It's just never ending.
That's awesome, man. Well, hey, I want to say thank you for coming on tonight, dude. I appreciate you giving us some insight on the event, obviously. But dude, I think that's breaking news about the off road deal, and I'm not really an off road guy, but I'm really pumped about that event.
Yeah, the off road stuff I think it's going to give those off road people the same experience and enjoyment that we get out of these events. And man, like those people, they're in the same motorsports as we do. They just do it different, right? They like to crawl big rocks and go through mud and climb up steep inclines. And to me, that's just as fun as going 200 miles an hour in a car. So I thought to myself, I was like, man, we have this platform to use with TRC having, a 1.6 million subscriber YouTube channel. And let's get these people some positive light on them. And let's go off-roading and let's, hit the dirt roads, like the real back roads, single lane.
That's right.
Like, all that kind of stuff. And I don't know, I think it'll be cool. And a lot of those people will camp. They're overland people, right? So they'll have tents on the road. They will they'll do their trail, they'll wheel. And then obviously, Kicker's one of my biggest sponsors, and with sponsors and everything we do, Kicker's going to give us some really cool outdoor rugged speakers that we're going to hide around the off-road parks. So once you get through doing your trail, you can go try to find those and be kind of like a treasure hunt. So it'll be something that's really family friendly. You bring your dog, it's pretty cool. I'm real excited about it.
Yep, that's awesome, man. Well, where can people watch you? I think you said J-Rod Garage a few times. Where all are you at?
YouTube. I think we'll probably hit 20,000 subscribers tomorrow. We've really been busting our butt the last couple of weeks on that deal. JRod_OKC on Instagram, and then J-Rod's Garage on Facebook. And then King of the Open Road has an Instagram as well as a Facebook page. KOTOR is our acronym. A lot of people shorten it up to that. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. I'd love to get any kind of racers that have never experienced King of the Open Road that are looking for that next adventure, because I promise you it will be an adventure.
Oh yeah, anything with using adventure, dude. It's going to be fun. I intend to drive over that Friday and hang out with you guys. I don't know if I can get there that morning because you guys leave at like 7 a.m. for your drives.
We won't leave that because Sunset Movie Theater. We can't watch the movie before the sun sets, so we will not.
That's a great point.
Yeah, we won't be leaving that early. It'll be a long day that day. 300 miles, and we have to get to Sapulpa about 6 o'clock in the evening. So see how many people actually stick around and watch the whole movie, which I don't care if they do or not, but I want those people to pack in there and experience that many race cars watching that movie on Route 66. And then once we get them in there, we can get their token, they're free to leave. So it'll be pretty cool. But yeah, it will not be an early cruise. It'll be a later in the afternoon cruise.
Well, that'll work out perfect for me.
I just think the photo opportunities for that are going to be incredible too.
Yeah,
I imagine some drones will probably be up there getting some overhead shots too.
Me being in sales, that's kind of how I sold that place on this ideal. I was like, man, what kind of marketing better would it be to have 300 cool ass cars with a line of people coming out, and you get those pictures, and those are your proprietary, property. That's what I told them. You guys can use those for marketing, because not only is King of the Open Road going on in that day, that's also our Cruising Oklahoma event for April. It kicks our year off. Cool. So we're going to have a couple hundred Cruising Oklahoma cars plus 200, 300 race cars. I mean, we very could have 500 to 600 cars on this cruise.
Man, wow. It truly is one of the coolest events that's out there. All right, dude. Thank you again so much. We appreciate you guys for everything you do for the sport, and we'll see you soon.
Awesome, brother. Thank you for having me.
Yep,
yeah, man.
Thanks.
Yep.
All right, bye-bye.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, that dude is one of my favorite people in all of drag and drive and all of the car community. He really, truly, deeply cares about the entire sport, and it's really apparent with when you attend an event like
Yeah.
King of the Freaking Road. And a lot of the stuff we do is modeled after what I see him do. Or I mean, I'm telling you, riding in that car that day changed the whole way everything worked. Dude, what a fun show tonight, man.
It's been a great show. We had two announcements that you hear here first, nowhere
Yeah.
else. The off-road kind of drag and
Yep.
drive event is going to be pretty sweet too. So yeah,
Yeah.
awesome show tonight.
Yeah, we had a good time, guys. Again, want to say thank you so much to everybody. Want to thank our sponsors. Thank you for being our race car friends. Thank you so much for all the support you guys have given us. Summit Racing, Molly Motorsports, Driven Racing Oil, Car Chains, Howard's Cams, Performa Built, Sweet Patina, and Racing Junk, guys. We can't do it without everybody. Just want to say thanks again.